but Diaz is a substitute. Right, let's hear from the Liverpool manager. Here he is, Jurgen Klopp.
Jurgen, obviously it's Derby Day, but can you try and treat it like a normal game, or is it impossible?
No, we have to. We have to. I think that's what we had to learn in the last few years. That the problem is if you only show up in a derby, passion-wise, attitude-wise, then a derby has to be really special. But if you show the right attitude in all the games, then you have to deal with it like a normal game, because all the rest will not only disturb the concentration, the focus, and all these kind of things. But we have to deal with it like a game against an opponent who's fighting for staying in the league, and that's what we have to consider, and that's what we do. And but apart from that, it must be a normal game, but a really good game, because the opponent will ask for that. They will fight for everything. They will go for it, and we have to do the same.
The fact that they're fighting for every point, you're fighting for every point, what will that add to the game?
Look, that's not a special thing with derbies. It's always you fight for every point. You have to get a result. So that was never different, I think. And especially we had always our reasons, like in respect to the table or whatever, that we needed the points. Was always the case. It was not one game where we said, okay, that doesn't bother too much. No, it's clear. But of course, it will be intense. Has to be. Imagine this game wouldn't be intense in the situation both teams are. So they fight for relegation and they wouldn't fight. We fight for the championship and we wouldn't fight. Both would be crazy. So I expect both teams to put a proper shift in.
Huge Merseyside derby in progress. The gentlemen are at the touch table because we looked at the Liverpool team. We thought Mane and Salah would both play. They do. But you want to focus not just on Mo Salah's goals, what he's bringing Liverpool to the team this season.
Yeah, the goals speak for themselves, don't they, Steve? But let's have a look at some of his assists this season, because they have been exceptional, some of them. We often see him on that right-hand side. Look how direct he is. And then once he cuts in here, I think as a centre-forward, you often get told one make that move and one make that move. And a lot of the time you make a crossover just to get those centre-halves guessing. And then the weight and the precision and actually the choice of pass from Mo Salah is absolutely perfect. He doesn't need to take a touch, Sadio Mane. I love this one because a lot of the time we look at Mo Salah and we think to ourselves, right, he makes this run in here. He always makes that run. And the defenders know that. So what they've done now is think, right, I'm going to give you a couple of yards here. And he backs off this time, backs off, and actually gets a load of space by doing that, because that's almost the least dangerous for the defence. But then, of course, he has that perfect ball inside to Matip. This one, I'll let this one run because, I mean, it speaks for itself. He runs into an offside position to start with, but then just look at the top of your screen with Sadio Mane. This is early on in the second half against Manchester City, and what about that for a defence splitting pass? And I really like this one as well, Steve, because I think at this point he's probably having a look at this and thinking, right, there's a lot of cover here already, and he wants to almost shift the players from this area to gain himself a little bit of space. So first of all, he comes to the ball. Look at that. He's not really got the space. So I think, right, I'll take Dalot out the way, I'll move him in, and then look at this area now. You've got Sadio Mane. He's bringing Harry Maguire into the situation as well, clearing that space. Then all of a sudden, it's the space to run into. And this looks easy. But when it's on your right foot, on your weaker foot, that is the most perfect present anybody could ask for. The weight, everything about it is absolutely perfect. And as I say, we spend a lot of time analysing his goals, but he can do the lot. His assists have been brilliant as well.
Yeah, that's a good point, because he's got 12 assists this season in the Premier League. Everton will talk about the attacking threat. And then, of course, behind them, they've got the fullbacks, because Trent Alexander-Arnold is right behind them as well.
Yeah, I mean, how do you stop this Liverpool team that they've developed? I mean, they're no longer a front three. They've made a change at the top of the pitch today. The rotation that Jurgen Klopp can use is terrific, but they're top of the goal-scoring charts, the three Liverpool players. I think they're top of the assist charts. They like being a unit. They like assisting for each other. They like being so close. You know, the old-fashioned big man, little man striker where they're working together to create goals. This front three love creating goals for each other. And then you add Trent on the top of that and Robertson from the other side. And They're a very difficult team to contain at the moment.
Let's sample the atmosphere from Anfield. Another man who knows all about the Merseyside derby, the former Liverpool player Harry Kewell. I remember that goal at the Cop End against Everton, Harry. That was terrific memories. And Michael and I were there on Tuesday. This home record, 11 wins in a row. You sense the confidence of the supporters around the stadium. But what about today with it being Derby Day?
Yeah, well, I walked in here when there was no one in here, and every time there was a fan that came in here, you could just smell that confidence coming from them, and they're all excited about this game. I can't really see anything changing. The way that Liverpool are playing at the moment, they are in phenomenal form, and I think Everton are going to be definitely to the wire today, and I really can't see anything different.
And when you look at the Liverpool team, a lot of people thought Jurgen Klopp might make a host of changes today. He hasn't, just 2 of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's difficult when you've got a winning team to change it around constantly. You know, it can upset players. But, you know, the Jota, I mean, for me, has been one of the best players this season. And for him to be starting today, hopefully he can get on the score sheet and, you know, put that little bit more pressure on Diaz.
And Thiago in midfield, I mean, Everton will have looked at the way Manchester United stood off him on Tuesday night. They're going to have to get close to him.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he's starting to control the games now. He's the player that everyone expected. He's fantastic to watch, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him, you know, perform again today.
Harry, enjoy the game. We'll speak to you later on. Thank you very much indeed. Harry Kewell up at Anfield. That's a point, isn't it? I mean, we were at Anfield on Tuesday. We couldn't believe the space that was allowed to the likes of Thiago.
Yes, of course. I mean, you can't give a player of his quality that kind of space. You've somebody who's grown into his Premier League career and his time at Liverpool, and he's getting better and better. But how do you stop? Do you drop off to stop the front 3 from getting space in behind? In which case, you're going to create more room in midfield for the likes of Thiago to dictate the play. So you have to go with a good game plan. You have to make sure that you're trying to stop Liverpool at as many places as you can. But they've got so many good players. You stop in one area, they'll find a way of creating another.
I think it's fair to say that Thiago has been almost a bit of a slow starter. Lots of people question whether his style of football could fit into this Liverpool team. And those questions remained until a few weeks ago, really. But the last couple of games he's played, he's been absolutely brilliant, you know, knitting everything together. And he is a joy to watch because when you play the game, when you see in detail on the training pitch, he is different. He is very, very different to most players. He's got that guile. He's got that unbelievable. I mean, he can play a ball over here without even looking. He just sees pictures before. I mean, and his disguise in passing is second to none. I mean, he's a treat to play. You could literally go to the stadium and watch him and enjoy the game just by watching him alone.